audible?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. I welcome you all to today's group discussion on recent amendments in GST, including Amnesty and West Bengal VAT Settlement of Dispute Scheme 2023, in short, SOD scheme. The GD will be initiated by CA Arup Dasgupta, a very learned person and a key member of our Indirect Taxes and GST committee. The session will be chaired by CA Abhishek Agarwal, co-chairman of the IDT committee, who will join shortly. Friends, as you all know, CBIC has recently issued some notifications, the latest being on 31st March 2023, whereby amnesty has been provided to the taxpayers from late fee payment in case of annual return and final return, for filing of application for revocation of registration, for furnishing of a valid return in case of non-filer of returns where assessment order has been served on the person, and so on. Further, in a bid to settle all tax disputes relating to sales tax, VAT, and others, the state government has introduced another dispute settlement scheme where pending taxes till February 10, 2023 can be paid by May 31st. Earlier, such a scheme was introduced in 2020, and more than 25,000 cases, as has been informed by the minister, are still pending in different tribunals and courts. So this scheme will definitely benefit those persons. Friends, with this brief opening remarks, I wish you all a happy learning. As this is a group discussion, please feel free to ask questions in the chat box or raise your hand. Now I request CA Amit Singhania to read out the profile of CA Arup Dasgupta, and then we'll request Arupji to start initiatives.
Abhishek has joined. Abhishek has joined.
Abhishek is joined. Before hello, Amit. Before
Yes,
Amit starts read out the profile of I'll request Abhishek Agarwal, who will chair today's session, to give his introductory remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Abhishek, I welcome each one of you in the GD on the recent changes. Thank you, Arupda, for accepting our invitation and always be a resourceful person. Indeed, it's an important topic, and all the clients are key.
I think there is some connectivity issue actually, Abhishek.
Yes, we have connectivity issue. I think Amit
all
can.
Issues with respect, all has to be understood in the right fashion. Audible?
Abhishek, your line is disconnected.
There seems to be some connectivity issue.
Okay, so sorry, I am traveling actually. So sorry, please, I will request someone to continue.
Okay, no issue. You can join a little later. And in the meantime, I request Amit to read out the profile of Arup, and then Arup can start his deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, sir. Mr. Arup Dasgupta is a FCA, SCS, and CISA with more than 2 decades of experience. He has hands-on experience in providing opinion and advisories on in-depth matters to some leading corporates, carrying out strategic review of business process to evaluate the GST implications, replying to so-called notices, undertaking litigation services and representations before the adjudicating authorities, appellate authorities. He was a co-opted member of Indirect Tax Committee EIRC for the financial year 1920. He has also published articles in journals and leading online websites and has an article with view of more than 2 million. He has trained students, professionals, senior government officers, professional bodies, and trade bodies on GST and other indirect tax related topics across multiple states in India. He is a faculty on GST with ICI and some of the other leading. He is passionate about providing solutions to issues faced by trade bodies and has been a partner in it since inception of GST, because of which he had the opportunity to represent before the Honorable FM Ms. N. Sitaraman, Revenue Secretary, and other key stakeholders, the issues faced by trade. So now I request Mr. Arup Dasgupta to initiate the further session.
Thank you, President sir, and thank
Welcome,
you,
Arup. Welcome, Arupda.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sham, please also send this flower bouquet to Arup.
Yes.
Surely.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think, so I'll start sharing, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm audible. So good evening, everyone. And I would first of all like to thank DTPA for giving me this wonderful opportunity of sharing on the recent changes in GST. So since I had a time of around 1.5 hours almost for the GD, so I've taken some of the key changes recently, which is of importance for all of us, considering that we can actually give suggestions to our clients based on the changes that have been made in the recent past as far as GST is concerned. So there's a standard disclaimer that whatever views I'm expressing, these are my personal views. So neither the organizers, that is DTPA, they may or may not, concur with my views, and these are only for sharing of knowledge. So with this, I'll just quickly with one of the key changes that was there in our budget, which is like for the composition dealers. See, the budget this time was for the Amrit Kal and with the Saptarishis. One of the Saptarishis was equal employment, like giving equal weightage to all the sectors. So one of the sectors is the MSME. Now, what was the MSME facing as a problem? Even if you're an MSME, and suppose one of my clients, they were selling glasses or specs through a e-commerce portal. Their annual turnover was only close to 23 lakhs or 24 lakhs. But just because they were selling through the e-commerce platforms, they had to go for regular registration. And they had to file all those returns, quarterly returns, 3B and all the likes. But the challenge here was that while doing that, many of the small businesses, though they were fulfilling their ambition of selling through the e-commerce platforms, उनका जो मेन प्रॉब्लम हो रहा था वो रिटर्न फाइल नहीं कर पा रहे थे ऑन टाइम. तो रिटर्न टाइम पे नहीं कर पाने से इंटरेस्ट भरना पड़ रहा था, पेनल्टीज, लेट फीस वगैरह, दे वर कमिंग. सो दिस वाज रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय द डिफरेंट ट्रेड बॉडीज कि सर आपने सर्विसेज को अलाउ किया है, आप गुड्स को भी अलाउ कीजिए कि अगर गुड्स भी सप्लाई करते हैं थ्रू ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म्स. सो एज वी ऑल नो, ड्यूरिंग कोविड many people have lost their jobs and they have slowly shifted to from service to become small traders who are maybe trading goods, maybe handicrafts or other such things, or maybe other goods, small homemade goods which they are selling through the e-commerce platform because they don't need to have any shop or they don't need to have any outlet from which they need to sell. So this was one important change that was brought in. But here, when we are guiding our clients, we need to remember that they can still make only intrastate supplies. Okay, they can make only intrastate supplies if they are registered under composition as a composition dealer and they are selling through the e-commerce platform. So if they want to sell interstate, through the e-commerce operator, then they cannot go for composition scheme. So this is something we need to remember because some of the businessmen, they have come to us and the clients, they have come to us saying that we want to, at the end of March, that we want to go for composition because now we can do through the e-commerce operator. But when we ask them, कि आप किसको बेचोगे? तो then they said, हम लोग यहाँ से हैदराबाद अपना यूनिट है, only for the small businessmen who are going to make supplies only on an intrastate basis and not interstate. So this is the small change that has been there in both the sections, which is that any supply of goods कितना है. ओके, तो हम लोग उसमें आप अपना संडे क्रेडिटर्स लिस्ट दीजिए, ओपनिंग, डेबिट, क्रेडिट, क्लोजिंग करके. और जैसे आपका 17-18 का ऑडिट हो रहा है, 18-19 का ऑडिट हो रहा है, तो आप क्या करते हो, आप संडे क्रेडिटर्स का लिस्ट देखते हो विथ ओपनिंग, डेबिट, क्रेडिट, क्लोजिंग एंड द टैक्स ऑफ प्रॉपर ऑफिसर. ही सीज की व्हाट इज योर क्रेडिट. से फ्रॉम अरूप दासगुप्ता देयर इज अ क्रेडिट ऑफ 1 lakh and the closing balance is also maybe 90,000, and then he says, okay, then in this case, in case of Arup Dasgupta, give me the ledger. And then he goes to the ledger and he checks कि आपने 180 days के पहले पेमेंट किया या नहीं किया है. अगर आपने 180 days के अंदर पेमेंट नहीं किया है, then you are supposed to reverse the ITC. And so if the payment is not made at all, if the payment is not made at all, in that case, they are asking you to reverse the ITC and pay interest along with that. But in case it's a invoice of 1780 and you have made the payment in 1819 after 180 days, in that case, we are paying the interest for the period from 180 days to the date of actual payment. So when I am making the payment, say, तो रूल 37 का क्या है, मैंने 180 दिन में पेमेंट नहीं किया है, तो मेरा सपोज अगस्त का बिल है और मैं मार्च में जाके देखता हूँ कि चलो मेरा 180 डेज ओवर हो गया, तो मैं मार्च में इसको रिवर्स करता हूँ अलॉन्ग विथ इंटरेस्ट, और मई में जाके मैं फिर वेंडर को पेमेंट करता हूँ. तो मई में जाके मैं क्या करता हूँ, उस क्रेडिट को मैं फिर से रिक्लेम कर लेता हूँ. प्लीज रिमेंबर, रूल 37 इज द ओनली रूल विच गवर्न्स द रिक्लेमिंग ऑफ क्रेडिट. क्योंकि हमारे पास काफी क्वेरीज आती है कि सर मैंने तो एक क्रेडिट जो है ना गलती से रिवर्स कर दिया, रूल 42 में मैंने गलती से रिवर्स कर दिया एक्स्ट्रा, तो उसका रिवर्सल का वो जो रिक्लेम है, कैन आई डू इट अंडर रूल 37? प्लीज रिमेंबर, रूल 37 इज स्पेसिफिक फॉर नॉन पेमेंट टू द क्रेडिटर्स. सो नाउ देयर इज अ न्यू रूल विच इज रूल 37A. तो इसमें क्या बताया गया, अब तक हम लोग क्या देख रहे थे, रेस्ट्रिक्शन कहाँ पे था आईटीसी का, कि अगर वेंडर ने जीएसटी 1 फाइल किया है और आपके 2B में आता है, तो 1 जनवरी 2022 से, ठीक है, इसके पहले रूल 36(4) था, 20%, then 15%, 10% एंड 5% एंड देन नथिंग. सो वो सारे रूल्स थे रूल 36(4) में, जहां पे रेस्ट्रिक्शन था. 1 जनवरी 2022 से क्या आ गया, 16(2)AA, उसमें रेस्ट्रिक्शन आ गया कि अगर सप्लायर ने अपलोड किया है जीएसटी 1 में और आपको अगर अपना 2B में दिखता है और एलिजिबल है, ठीक है ना, मैं वाई एम यूजिंग द वर्ड बोर्ड, कि आपको दिखता भी है और एलिजिबल भी है. ऐसा हो सकता है कि 2B में आपका क्रेडिट दिखता है बट एलिजिबल नहीं है. क्यों एलिजिबल नहीं है? क्योंकि उसका जो पीओएस है दैट इज डिफरेंट, ठीक है. तो इन दैट केस यू कैन नॉट क्लेम दैट क्रेडिट, ओके. और मे बी इट इज रेस्ट्रिक्टेड बाय 16(4) के रेस्ट्रिक्शन के लिए भी वो आपके लिए एलिजिबल नहीं दिखता, तो वो आप ले सकते हो. तो फॉर सेक ऑफ सिंप्लिसिटी, मेरा एक वेंडर है, उसने जीएसटी 1 फाइल किया है, मेरा 2B में दिख रहा है, वो मेरा एलिजिबल क्रेडिट है, मैंने ले लिया है. कब लिया मैंने? February 22 को लिया है, क्योंकि मेरा 2B में आता था. तो अब तक आप क्या सोच रहे थे कि चलो 2B में दिख गया, वेंडर को पेमेंट कर देते हैं और इसके बाद अपना शांति हो गया क्योंकि हमको क्रेडिट मिल गया. नो, प्लीज बी अवेयर दैट नाउ once rule 37A is going to be implemented, you have to follow another step. And what is that step? कि आपके जो वेंडर ने, जिसने वो इनवॉइस दिखाया, जो आपके 2B में ऑटो पॉपुलेट होकर आया है, उन्होंने 3B भी फाइल किया कि नहीं किया, ये भी अभी आपको चेक करना पड़ेगा. अब आप बोलोगे करूँ कि हमको कहाँ से पता चलेगा कि चलो 2B में आ गया, 3B में उसने फाइल किया कि नहीं? दैट इज अ मैकेनिज्म दैट दे आर गोइंग टू ब्रिंग इन, बिकॉज इसका जो टाइम लिमिट है ये सितंबर ऑफ द नेक्स्ट ईयर है. तो 22-23 के लिए, 22-23 के लिए हमें क्या देखना पड़ेगा, वेदर बाय 30th September 23, वेदर बाय 30th September 23 वेंडर ने उनका 3B फाइल किया कि नहीं. अगर 30th September 23 तक वेंडर अपना 3B फाइल नहीं करता है, जो कि आपको दिखेगा, आपके 2B में आ जाएगा ऑटो पॉपुलेट होके कि इस वेंडर ने उस महीने का, देखिए ये आपको कभी भी इनवॉइस लेवल डेटा आपको नहीं मिलेगा कि चलो उनका 1 में 50 लाख का क्रेडिट, 50 लाख का उनका आउटवर्ड सप्लाई था और उन्होंने 3B में कितना दिया है, उसका डेटा आपके पास नहीं आया, ठीक है ना. आपके पास क्या डेटा आएगा कि 2B में आपको दिखेगा कि उन्होंने 1 फाइल किया है और उन्होंने 3B भी फाइल किया. अब उन्होंने 1 का जो टैक्स लायबिलिटी है वो 3B में डिस्चार्ज किया, दैट इज नॉट आवर हेडेक. व्हाई? बिकॉज अगर अब 1 में आपने जो लायबिलिटी दिखाया वो अगर आप 3B में उससे कम पे करते हो तो नेक्स्ट मंथ ही आपके पास नोटिस आ जा रहा है. तो ये हम लोग कंसिडर या अज्यूम कर सकते हैं कि अगर किसी ने 1 में दिखाया और उतने का अमाउंट उसने 3B में नहीं दिखाया, अगर उसमें कोई डिफरेंस है, तो सपोज फरवरी के मंथ में आप ही को सेल किया उन्होंने और एक ही इनवॉइस है उनका और उनका टैक्सेबल वैल्यू है से 10 लाख और से टैक्स है 1,80,000 और उन्होंने 3B फाइल किया है, तो उसमें 3B में अगर उन्होंने 5 लाख रुपया दिखा दिया टैक्सेबल वैल्यू और 90,000 का टैक्स पे किया, तो तुरंत उनको डिपार्टमेंट से ऑटोमेटेड नोटिस आ रहा है कि आपने 1 में इतना दिखाया, 3B में इतना कम दिखाया, क्यों दिखाया बताओ. तो लेट अस नॉट थिंक अबाउट दैट कि मेरा इनवॉइस है कि नहीं है. अब तक जो है कि उस महीने का जो जिस महीने में हम लोगों ने परचेज किया उस महीने का जो 3B है वो फाइल हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, उसके हम लोगों को 30 सितंबर के पहले चेक करना पड़ेगा. तो इन माय ओपिनियन व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग माय टीम मेंबर्स इज लेट अस नॉट वेट टिल 30 सितंबर, लेट अस स्टार्ट इट राइट नाउ. अब से ही हम लोग देखते रहते हैं कि ये आपको कैसे मिलेगा. आपका और एक उपाय क्या है, आप सर्च एज टैक्स पेयर में जाओ, सर्च एज टैक्स पेयर में जाओ. लेकिन ये बहुत ही टीडियस प्रोसेस है क्योंकि हर टैक्स पेयर का आपका देखना है. तो मोरलेस आप कुछ कुछ टैक्स पेयर्स का हम लोग सैंपल में जो देख रहे हैं, और सर्च एज टैक्स पेयर में जाके आप उनका जीएसटी नंबर भरो और फिर वहां पे फाइलिंग मॉड्यूल देख लो. और फाइलिंग मॉड्यूल में आपको दिखेगा कि 1 कहां तक फाइल्ड है और 3B कहां तक फाइल्ड है. तो दैट इज वन compliance check. But we are expecting that GST will also come with auto populated data. यहाँ पे 2B भी दिखेगा कि उस इनवॉइस को दिखाएगी. तो अगर 30 सितंबर के 3B में ऑलरेडी 3B उन्होंने ऑलरेडी 30 सितंबर तक फाइल कर दिया, देन यू डोंट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग. ठीक है. बट अगर वो 30 सितंबर को फाइल नहीं करते हैं या 30 सितंबर तक वो ये 3B फाइल नहीं करते, तो क्या होगा? तो आपको रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपने फरवरी 22 में आईटीसी लिया था 1,80,000 का, और आपके जो वेंडर है वो 30 सितंबर तक उन्होंने 3B फाइल नहीं किया. तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, आपको नवंबर के पहले, क्योंकि आपको मालूम है कि अभी 16/4 का डेडलाइन चला गया 30 नवंबर, तो इन माय व्यू इट विल बी अक्टूबर 3B. अक्टूबर 3B में जाके आपको उस आईटीसी को रिवर्स करना है. अगर वेंडर ने 30 सितंबर तक नहीं दिखाया, आपको अक्टूबर का जो 3B है उसमें जाके उस आईटीसी को रिवर्स करना है. अगर आप अच्छे बच्चे बनते हो और रिवर्स कर देते हो एज पर रूल 37A, तो आपको क्या फायदा होगा? आपको इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट नहीं करना. मतलब मुझे दिखा कि 30 सितंबर तक मेरे वेंडर ने 3B फाइल नहीं किया है, मैंने अक्टूबर के 3B में आईटीसी को रिवर्स करके उसको पेमेंट कर दिया, तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट का जो पैसा है फरवरी से लेके सितंबर तक वो मेरा सेव हो जाए. और फिर अगर मेरा वेंडर जो है वो जाके से नवंबर में फिर वो 3B अपना फाइल कर देता है फरवरी का, तो फिर मैं नवंबर में जाके मैं उसे फिर से रिक्लेम कर सकता हूँ. So I hope this is clear. Now there is a third part. उन वेंडर ने 30 सितंबर तक नहीं दिखाया और आप भी सोचे नहीं हम तो रिवर्स नहीं करने वाले हैं, ठीक है ना, हम 30 नवंबर से पहले मतलब अक्टूबर 3B में हम रिवर्स नहीं करेंगे, हम ये करेंगे थोड़ा बहुत देखेंगे कब तक ये फाइल होगा. इन दैट केस, if you have not filed, if you have not reversed the ITC, for which your vendor has not filed the 3B, in that case, if the deadline of 30th November has gone away, okay, so इसमें आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, इसमें आपको आईटीसी तो रिवर्स करना ही पड़ेगा, राइट. आपको आईटीसी रिवर्स करना ही पड़ेगा. से आप नवंबर के 3B में आईटीसी रिवर्स कर रहे हो, उसके साथ यू हैव टू पे इंटरेस्ट, उसके साथ यू आल्सो हैव टू पे इंटरेस्ट from your original date of taking the ITC till the date of your the reversal. And इसमें भी अगर आपका वेंडर जो है वो अगर फाइल कर देता है 3B, वो अगर सपोज आपने नवंबर के 3B में रिवर्स किया है और वो जनवरी 24 में जाके फरवरी 22 का वो 3B फाइल करता है, तो आप जनवरी 23 का जो 3B है उसमें आप इस आईटीसी को फिर से क्लेम कर सकते हैं. So this is a very important change and a significant change, Rule 37A. So जिसके लिए I think we should start preparing right now, because waiting till maybe August or September will be too late, क्योंकि तब तक ऑडिट का भी प्रेशर काफी रहता है. तो प्लीज चेक कीजिए, और अगर आपको लगता है कि 30 सितंबर तक उन्होंने फाइल नहीं किया, तो my advice would be to reverse the ITC without interest, and as request your vendor to file the same, and once he files, then only you can reclaim the ITC. So next we are coming to another important aspect, which is CSR, corporate social responsibility. तो इसमें अभी नया क्लॉज लाया गया सेक्शन 17 में. तो उसमें क्या बोल रहे हैं कि एफए में क्या लाया गया है, 17(5) एफए में, गुड्स और सर्विसेज और बोथ received by a taxable person which are used or intended to be used for activities relating to his obligations under corporate social responsibility referred to in section 135 of the Companies Act 2013. Now, this is again a huge blow to the trade and industry. Why do I say a huge blow? Please try to appreciate and understand that during COVID, okay, apart from the government, who were the bodies who stood beside the people who are going through so much of pain and suffering? It was the corporates. The corporates spent a huge amount of their CSR funds, even more than the amount they were eligible for the CSR funds. They were their obligation. They paid in advance for the few years coming in just to help the people who are going through so much of crisis and challenges during the COVID period. But now, there were a lot of litigations regarding this also. And what was the litigations? There were contradictory judgments by the different advanced ruling authorities. So while two of the honorable advanced ruling authorities, they gave in favor of the SSC, saying that yeah, this is in furtherance of the business. Agar banda CSR ka paisa kharcha nahi karega, then it's a non-compliance with the Companies Act. There will be prosecution. Agar director ke upar prosecution ho jata, to business aage kaun leke jayega? So that is furtherance of business. And so, the CSR activities ke liye aap jo bhi goods or services or both purchase karte ho, on that, whatever ITC is there, that is eligible. But again, in Polycab wares, Kerala advanced ruling went with a different argument. What was the argument? The argument was that this is a gift. Aap kya kar rahe ho? Aap kuch de rahe ho, and in return for that, there is no quid pro quo. They are not giving you anything in return, right? So suppose you are giving 20 laptops to an orphanage. Okay, one of my clients has actually given 20 laptops to an orphanage, and it was paid out of the CSR funds. Now, my client, what they did is they took the ITC on the CSR on the laptop. But please appreciate that 2% का जो liability था, जो उनको payment करना पड़ता है for corporate social responsibility, that was on the net amount calculated, not on the gross. So whatever amount was the actual taxable value, that was the 2% obligation that they had to meet. So there was no non-compliance. So even if they are doing that, and this corporate social responsibility is only for the purpose of business, even then, how could it be treated as a gift? Gift is something where I'm giving without any obligation. Okay, just because I'm happy and I want to make the other person happy, that's why maybe I'm giving the gift. But CSR is never a gift. It is an obligation which is given to me under Section 135, and we should be proud that India was one of the prime countries and countries of origin who have taken the first step in bringing the CSR provisions in the Companies Act, right? So how could it be treated as without furtherance of this? But be that as it may, finally, the section is amended, is being proposed to amend, and it is said that ITC will not be available by the taxable person which are being used or intended to be used for activities related to obligations under CSR. So just a brief about CSR, though many of us know, but since I'm mainly handling direct tax, so I try to keep the Companies Act and the income tax provisions and all, threadbare in front of me so that there is no miscommunication on this. So as per Section 135 of the Companies Act, if every company which has net worth of 500 crores, turnover of 1,000 crores, or a net profit of 5 crores or more on an average for the last 3 years, then during any financial year, so if in one of the financial years you are having this, they will be required to spend in every financial year at least 2% of the average net profits made during the 3 immediately preceding financial years in pursuance of its corporate social responsibility. So please understand that it is only for companies who are actually making a lot of profit. They are actually contributing this back to the society. So why is it that it is not for furtherance of business, and why is it deemed to be treated as a gift? That we are not sure. But as we all say that till it is challenged, maybe we'll have to accept with this. And from the day the same is notified, we cannot avail the ITC on the CSR. But now 2 questions are emerging from this. One question is the last point that I've written here: past litigations. So since this amendment, it is a inclusion, okay? It's not a substitution. It's an inclusion which is being brought. So can we treat it as, like till the past, in the past, whatever CSR activities have been done, whatever ITC has been availed for that was always available, okay? We have already sought a clarification for this. कि मैंने जो अब तक खर्चा कर दिया है ऑलरेडी फॉर सीएसआर, जिसपे मैंने आईटीसी ले लिया है, जिसपे लिटिगेशन चल रहा है, उस पे क्या होगा? क्योंकि आप आज आके बता रहे हो कि सेक्शन में ला रहे हो कि दिस इज नॉट एलिजिबल आईटीसी एंड यू कैन नॉट टेक इट, इट इज ब्लॉक. तो लिटिगेशंस का क्या होगा? दैट इज अ बिग क्वेश्चन which that needs to be appreciated. And if you are already facing a litigation, I would also request you to kindly request for a clarification of this angle as to what will happen for the past litigations. or else that will become a challenge in the days to come. Because with the section coming in place, now, authorities, they will say that legislative intent was that, to block the credit. It is only that the section has been incorporated later. Okay, so another interesting amendment is in section 23. So what was happening till now is that, section 23 was contrary to section 22 or 24. That was being said that even, section 22 was overriding. Okay, so section 22 was overriding section 23 in terms of, even if you are having exempted supply, since, under section 24, a person who's supposed to pay tax under RCM, he was supposed to take compulsory registration. Therefore, section 24 had an overriding impact on 23. So this was again a challenge, because say I am an advocate, okay, and I'm just, supplying, I don't have any kind of supplies other than maybe, what should I say, like any kind of other supplies. I'm just supplying on the reverse charge mechanism directly. So maybe, I'm not required to take any kind of registration. So I'm not required to go for any registration under section 23 also. But suppose I am selling an exempted goods. Okay, I'm only trading in rice. Okay, unbranded rice. And now I take an advocate service. And just because I've taken a service from an advocate, or just because I'm taking a service from security service agency, I am liable to get registered because I'm having obligations to pay RCM. So was this the intent? That just because one person has some small liability for RCM payment, they'll have to take registration, even though otherwise they are exempted under section 23 from taking registration. So इसलिए अब इसमें क्या किया गया है? Simply it has been told, not saying anything to the contrary contained in section 22 or 24, following persons shall not be liable to registrations who are exclusively engaged in the business of supplying goods or both that are not liable to tax or wholly exempt from tax under this act or under integrated tax. So if you are selling anything which is exempted, if you are providing an exempted supply, and only because you are doing some, you have procured something which is payable under reverse charge mechanism, for that you don't need to take any registration. Now a question may come, what will happen to the people who have already taken the registration? My view is that if you have already taken the registration, and since the date this will be notified, you can go ahead and just surrender your registration. And because no more there will be no more requirement for this particular registration, because section 23 has undergone a change. After this, there is a interesting amendment. ये amendment बहुत interesting इसलिए है क्योंकि suddenly there is a limit on timeline. अभी आपको बताया जा रहा है कि सर और मैडम आपके पास 3 साल ही है सिर्फ. आप अगर कोई भी रिटर्न जो है, whether it is statement of outward supplies under section 37, whether it's all kind of returns that we file under section 39, or it is the annual return under section 44, कुछ भी अगर है, ये रिटर्न जो भी है, ये अगर आपको फाइल करना है तो आपको ड्यू डेट से 3 साल तक के अंदर ही फाइल करना पड़ेगा. अगर ड्यू डेट के 3 साल बाद आप फाइल करने जाओगे तो ये आप फाइल नहीं कर पाओगे. So again, this is a very important amendment which needs to be kept in mind, because from the date it will be notified, you cannot file the past returns. So अगर अभी जो है कि अगर आपके पास कोई भी रिटर्न है जो आपको फाइल करना पड़ेगा एंड आप नहीं कर पा रहे हो because of any other reason, maybe funds or information or data, whatever it is suggested that आप अभी फाइल कर दो, क्योंकि अगर आप ये नोटिफाई हो जाता है, and it is notified that from a back date this will not be eligible. We don't know actually from when it will be, maybe it will be made prospective only. But suppose the restriction comes that after this date you cannot file any return for which the due date has lapsed for more than 3 years. फिर आप पुराना रिटर्न फाइल नहीं कर सकते. तो इसलिए in one way this restriction has to be kept in mind and also shared with the clients. Though I think 3 years अपने कुछ, अब हम लोग जितने भी मेंबर्स हैं अभी मीटिंग में या जीडी में, मुझे नहीं लगता है कि किसी के क्लाइंट का रिटर्न 3 साल से ज्यादा ड्यू रहेगा. बट अगर है भी तो उसका अगर कोई लेजिटिमेट रीजन है और वो उनका ड्यू भी है तो उसको फाइल करना पड़ेगा. आगे जाके ये हम लोग ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा क्लाइंट को भी, क्योंकि काफी ऐसा होता है कि क्लाइंट हमारे पास आता है और बोलते हैं कि आई वाज नॉट अवेयर दैट आई हैव टू फाइल द अपील विद इन 4 months. I was not aware that I had to file a final return. Okay, I was not aware that I had to file annual return. ये बोलते. So I think here it is very important that all this small changes कि sir आप कोई भी return जो due है ना उसका 3 साल के बाद आप file नहीं कर. We should intimate this to the client. And for this, I have actually thought of all these things. What is the purpose? ये 3 साल का restriction क्यों? क्या कुछ good time है कि 3 साल तक ही time देना चाहिए or what? Only thing that I could think of is ये settlement easy कर देगा, right? ये settlement will be far easier because as we all know, right now what is happening, you know, as 30th September or now 30th November, 30th November of the next year goes, the ITC which is lapsed, which is not availed, which is not utilized, which is not availed, you know, whatever ITC is not availed by the taxpayer, but which is there in which is available to him, all those get settled quickly. So maybe even this particular 3-year deadline is one way. In one way, it will help in kind of litigations, okay? Because you can then, you know, the show cause notices and all this can be made more compact. Because then after 3 months, 3 years from the due date, his timeline is stopped. So they get a long time period to, the department will get a long time period to do all the data analytics that is there. Okay. Secondly, there are many instances wherein अब जब 17-18 का audit हो रहा है, so suddenly the taxpayer, you know, just before the date of starting of the audit, the taxpayer goes and files the annual return. And, you know, maybe a lot of desk audit has already been done by the department. And suddenly this filing of GST 9 creates a lot of confusion. So maybe this could be some of the reasons. But I've thought loud and I've also gone through the finance bill. मुझे कोई कारण नहीं मिला कि इसको 3 साल क्यों किया गया है. But maybe one of the reasons could be, you know, quick settlement. Another could be, you know, better data analytics, you know, wherein through DG, ARM or all the other, you know, analytics that are being used, they can be used in a better way. And also, you know, for maybe the show cause notices, process show cause notice or the audits, it will make easier because there will be a limitation or the restriction on the timelines within which the returns can be filed. But here we want to know. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one thing, may I?
Yes, sir.
If he didn't file the return, say for 3 years from the due date of annual return, then it becomes a case. It didn't become a case of non-filing of returns under Section 62.
Yes.
And the officer can proceed for base judgment assessment, and then subsection 2 they have said that if the registered person furnishes a valid return within 30 days after service of the assessment order,
Right.
the said assessment order shall be deemed to have been withdrawn. So in that case, even if this 3 years deadline is there, but even a base judgment order is passed, then subsection 2 thereof still gives him an option to file a valid return within 30 days.
Yes, 62 will give it a valid time, I think, for that 30 days. But sir, maybe they will bring a restriction there also. That base judgment assessment can be done only maybe within a due date of 3 years from the date of the returns.
So there too that some amendment will be there.
Yes, there also some amendments will be brought in. That is what we are also expecting.
Okay, thank you.
So, and another thing is one of the group discussions we are having in another professional association, therein one member raised this issue that whether this restriction, ये जो 3 साल का restriction लाया गया है, whether this is, you know, to have some effect on Rule 37A. What is happening is that, you know, Rule 37A says that whenever you file the 3B, whenever your vendor files the 3B, you can again reclaim the credit. So what is happening is here in ideal situation, in Rule 37A cases, wherein, you know, you are reversing the credit because your vendor has not filed this 3B within 30th September of the next year. So in these cases, what is happening is once maybe the timeline is going of 3 years, they can do the settlement. You know, in this case, you know, so this ITC will not be reclaimed by him again because after the 3 years time is over, the supplier cannot file the 3B at all. So the recipient, he has no possibility of reclaiming that ITC again. So that is one view that has come from one of the members. So I thought that also can be shared here. So this would be the reasons that is there for extending of the time limit. But yes, one important thing here is that we have to make the clients aware. Okay. So now next is again a very important thing which is there. And I'm really surprised that I've attended recently I've taken part in 2 seminars, and in both the seminars, many of the participants, they shared that this is something they didn't know. So I think this particular relief, this is not still implemented, but this particular relief, maybe it needs more wider publicity from the professionals. What is it? Why is this thing coming? Basically, there are 2 classes of people who have suffered. One, during COVID, what has happened? People had booked banquets, okay, and along with banquets, for marriage parties and birthday parties and all, they had booked banquets, they had booked the flower organizer, decorator, caterer, and everything, and they paid huge amounts as advance, on which GST was also paid, okay. And say these things happened in the month of January to February 2020. तो जनवरी 2020 में मैंने क्या किया, मैंने बैंक्वेट वालों को मैंने से 10 लाख का पेमेंट किया है और 1,80,000 का मैंने जीएसटी भरा। अब मार्च में कोविड आ गया, तो मैंने बताया चलो भाई ये जो शादी है हम लोग अभी अरेंज नहीं करें, हम लोग बाद में नवंबर में जाके विल होल्ड दिस मैरिज, एंड दैट इज व्हाट द मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल डिड, दे पोस्टपोन्ड द मैरिज। अब नवंबर में देयर वाज अ रेस्ट्रिक्शन बाय द गवर्नमेंट सेइंग दैट ओनली 50 पीपल कैन गो, 100 पीपल कैन गो। सो द पीपल thought, "Kare bhai, this banquet is for 600, 700 people. So why should I invite 50 people?" So he went ahead and said, "कि भाई मेरा ये cancel कर दो. I'll not take this. हम देखेंगे बाद में, जो अभी तो शादी जो है घर में हम लोगों ने करवा लिया, छोटा सा फंक्शन करके ड्राइंग हो गया." So now when they went to the banquet manager said, "हाँ सर ठीक है, 10 लाख का तो मैं वापस दे दूंगा, बट 1,80,000 जो है टैक्स का वो तो सर चला गया, वो तो हम नहीं कर सकते." बोले क्यों नहीं कर सकते हो? बोला सर देखिए सर्कुलर नोटिफिकेशन आपके पास तो बहुत कुछ है, तो वो उसमें सर देखिए लिखा हुआ है कि क्रेडिट नोट फॉर एनी फाइनेंशियल ईयर हैज टू बी इशूड विद इन 30 सितंबर ऑफ द नेक्स्ट फाइनेंशियल। तो मेरा सर 30 सितंबर तो चला गया, आज तो नवंबर में बात कर रहे हो, तो इसमें तो मैं आपको क्रेडिट नोट नहीं दे सकता हूँ, मतलब क्रेडिट नोट में वो जो एडजस्टमेंट है वो मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ, तो इसलिए आपको जो करना है आप 10 लाख ले लें। तो many such cases arose, right? Many such cases arose, not only in relation to this, but many other services also, wherein there was a time gap, so cancellation में बहुत late हुआ. Apart from this, there is another important class of person for whom mainly the relief is come. That is the flat owners. तो क्या हो रहा है? Flat owners are purchasing the flats. उन्होंने पसंद किया, तो उनको लगा कि ठीक है चलो 2,500 स्क्वायर फीट फ्लैट खरीदते हैं एक्स एरिया में, जो भी अच्छा है, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। बट उनका लड़का आके बोलते हैं कि भाई पापा ये आपने कैसा फ्लैट खरीदी, तो पसंद ही नहीं है मुझे, ये तो मुझे कैंसिल करना है। अब तो अभी पापा जो है बोलते हैं कि भाई मैंने तो इसका ऑलरेडी पेमेंट कर दिया, अभी लास्ट 2 साल से मैं पेमेंट कर रहा हूँ, ऑलमोस्ट 1.5 साल हो गया अभी पेमेंट कर रहा हूँ, तो इसमें जो है कि कैंसिल करने से तो अभी देखना पड़ेगा क्या है। दे गो टू द बिल्डर क्या बोलते हैं कि सर मैं आपका जो फ्लैट का पेमेंट है उसका तो मैं करवा दूंगा, और थोड़ा बहुत इस साल का जो आपने पेमेंट किया उसका भी मैं आपको रिटर्न करवा दूंगा, बट सर लास्ट साल का जो आपने पेमेंट किया ना उसका सर मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ क्योंकि मेरा क्रेडिट नोट देने का टाइम चला गया। So now with lot of anguish they came to the DGTS, Director General of Taxpayer Services, and they used to complain कि सर वो बिल्डर है उसने मेरा पैसा ले लिया, वो मेरा जीएसटी का पैसा वापस नहीं दे रहा है, बोल रहा है कि क्रेडिट नोट। So now government has come with this कि if you are an unregistered person you can also avail claim refund for any GST paid by you but for which the contract had to be cancelled. तो इसमें let's just pay attention for maybe 5-10 minutes because this is only for 5-10 minutes ये जो है ये particular circular। तो इसमें क्या बताया गया, as with any rule of refund, these also please remember that this also there is a time limit of 2 years only. So within 2 years from the relevant date, okay, जिस दिन आपने पेमेंट किया उससे 2 साल के अंदर आपको ये रिफंड क्लेम करना है। आप कैसे क्लेम करोगे? ये एप्लीकेशन फॉर रिफंड में जाके आपको क्लेम करना है, और बिफोर एप्लीकेशन ऑफ रिफंड आपको क्या करना है, आपको gst.gov.in में जाके एक टेम्पररी रजिस्ट्रेशन क्रिएट करना है यूजिंग योर पैन नंबर एंड आधार वेरिफिकेशन, आधार ऑथेंटिकेशन। प्लीज रिमेंबर वन थिंग दैट ये जो टेम्पररी रजिस्ट्रेशन है इट्स वेरी सिंपल प्रोसेस, ये हम लोग करते थे फॉर एडवांस रूलिंग and for unregistered payer in wherein we are filing appeals for e-way bill cases and all those things, इसमें होता था। तो इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल प्रोसेस, वही कुछ फोन नंबर वगैरह लगता है उसमें कर सकते। बट रिमेंबर वन थिंग, suppose you are taking, I'll give you a practical example, like in one of my clients case who are FMCG company, they had paid lot of money to event management companies across 4 to 5 states, and all this in the different 4 to 5 states, these people were not registered. Okay, these people were not registered, and they said that okay, this registration, whatever it is there, we have already paid the money. We cannot take we cannot pay you the money back. So what we had to do is we had to actually go there, speak, and try to find out what will happen, how we'll get the refund. So in this case, please remember that if your refund is due from 3 to 4 states, जैसे इस कंपनी में क्या है, इनका जो इवेंट मैनेजमेंट कंपनी इन्होंने दिया है 3-4 स्टेट में, अलग अलग स्टेट में, जो बाकी स्टेट्स में दिया था, वहां पे ये लोग रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है, ठीक है ना, और उन्होंने जो है कि सीजीएसटी एसजीएसटी चार्ज किया है, बिकॉज प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई वाज देयर बिकॉज ऑफ दैट, एंड इन दैट केस बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वर ऑन ऑल दिस इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, मतलब वो keeping the doctors and their banquet dinner and also CGST SGST was basically charged. तो इसमें क्या है, हम लोगों को अगर रिफंड लेना है उस कैंसिलेशन का, हमें 4 स्टेट में जाके रजिस्ट्रेशन लेना पड़ेगा एंड चारों स्टेट में रिफंड का अप्लाई करना, ये हमें ध्यान रखना। इसके बाद जो है रजिस्ट्रेशन कैसे करोगे, वो तो नॉर्मली प्रोसेस है, आप वो स्टेट सिलेक्ट करना, आपका आधार, आपका बैंक डिटेल्स देना है, और इसके बाद आप RFD 01 में जाइए और रिफंड का एप्लीकेशन कीजिए। और रिफंड एप्लीकेशन में उसमें क्या है, देयर इज वन कैटेगरी व्हिच इज बीइंग ब्रॉट इन, रिफंड फॉर अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, उसको आपको सिलेक्ट करना है, रिफंड फॉर अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन। और इसके साथ जो बाकी जैसे डिक्लेरेशंस है वो ऑलरेडी है वहां पे, जो आपको करना पड़ेगा। इसके अलावा आपको जो देना है, फाइल करना है, दैट इज स्टेटमेंट 8। तो स्टेटमेंट 8 में क्या देना पड़ता है, आपको ये सारा डिटेल देना पड़ेगा, जैसे आपको इनवॉइस का नंबर, इनवॉइस का डेट, वैल्यू, कितना टैक्स आपने दिया और डिटेल्स ऑफ पेमेंट। वो स्टेटमेंट 8 जो है एक फॉर्मेट है, स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेट, उसमें आपको फिलअप करना पड़ेगा। बेसिकली यू आर गिविंग देयर what is your invoice number, what is the date, what is the value of the taxable value, how much tax you have paid, okay, and what are the date of payment that you have made the payment to the particular person. And along with this, what do you need to give? You need to give the invoices also. You need to give the copy of such invoices. You need to give the proof of payment, making the payment. So suppose मैंने बैंकेट वाला को पैसा दिया है, तो what is my proof? मेरा बैंक स्टेटमेंट प्रूफ रहेगा कि उसमें से मैंने उनको पैसा दिया, फिर उन्होंने मनी रिसीट दिया मुझे, जो भी है। इसके बाद एक एग्रीमेंट और रजिस्टर्ड एग्रीमेंट और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। नाउ हियर देयर इज अ चैलेंज, आप बैंकवेट के पास जाते हो, देयर इज नो रिटन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नोट नहीं रहता है इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस, इट्स अ वर्बल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। तो हम लोग इसमें क्या कर रहे हैं कि व्हेन वी आर ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर सम ऑफ आवर क्लाइंट, हम लोग ऑलरेडी एक फॉर्मेट में लेटर में बना रहे हैं कि दिस इज देयर, एंड इसमें बनाया गया था कि ये सर्विस हम लोग लेंगे, इतनी तारीख को हम लोग सर्विस कैंसिल किए। तो उसमें वो लोग साइन कर दे रहे, यस ये सर्विस हम लोगों ने एग्री किया था, इतने तारीख को इस सर्विस को हम लोग इस कारण से कैंसिल किया है। तो अगर आपके पास कोई मैरिज बुकिंग रिसीट है, या देखिए फ्लैट के केस में आपके पास एग्रीमेंट फॉर सेल रहेगा, तो वो एग्रीमेंट आपका बन जाएगा कॉपी ऑफ एग्रीमेंट। देन लेटर इशूड बाय द सप्लायर फॉर कैंसिलेशन ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और टर्मिनेशन ऑफ। तो इसमें क्या है, जब आप जाके बोलते हो कि मेरे बेटे को फ्लैट पसंद नहीं है, तो बिल्डर क्या करता है, एक टर्मिनेशन लेटर बनाता है जिसमें वो बोलता है ठीक है, आपने इतने का फ्लैट बुक किया था, इसका कॉस्ट इतना था, आपने इतना पैसा दिया, इतना हम लोग कैंसिलेशन चार्जेस है जो हम लोग डिडक्ट करके रखेंगे, और बाकी इतना पैसा जो है हम तो आपको वापस दे रहे हैं। So last is details of payment received from the supplier against cancellation or termination of such agreement along with, तो बिल्डर ने जो आपको पैसा वापस दिया है, इसमें प्रूफ इंपॉर्टेंट क्यों है, क्योंकि डिपार्टमेंट में देखना चाहते हैं कि सपोज आपने 30 लाख रुपया दिया फ्लैट के लिए और उसके साथ आपने 5% का जीएसटी भी दिया है, तो 31,50,000 आपने दिया है। तो आपको अगर बिल्डर 31,50,000 दे देता वापस, फिर तो आपको रिफंड बनता नहीं। इसलिए ये जो 30 लाख से मिला है, इसका प्रूफ भी आपको दिखाना पड़ेगा, ठीक है। तो ये सारा लेके आपको अपलोड करना पड़ेगा, और ये जो अपलोड करोगे तब उसके साथ एक सर्टिफिकेट, ये सर्टिफिकेट भी इनबिल्ड रहेगा RFD 01 में, बट ये सर्टिफिकेट आप अलग से भी दे सकते हैं। इसमें क्या मेंशन किया रहेगा, 3 चीज मेंशन किया रहेगा। एक, आप he has paid the tax in respect of the invoice on which refund is being claimed. Second, he has not adjusted the tax amount involved in this invoice against his tax liability by issuing credit note, and also that he has not claimed and will not claim refund of the amount of tax involved in respect of this invoices. Okay, तो ये जो आपके जो बिल्डर है उनसे आपको ये सर्टिफिकेट लेना पड़ेगा। बिल्डर क्या लिख के दे रहा है, बेसिकली 3 चीज लिख के दे रहा है आपको। फ्लैट ओनर को क्या लिख के दे रहा है, 3 चीज दे, उन्होंने टैक्स भरा है, और इसमें आप ये भी लिखवा लो कि कौन सा 3B में भरा है, तो एकदम इजी बन जाता है आपके। नेक्स्ट, कि उन्होंने ये टैक्स अमाउंट जो है एडजस्ट नहीं किया है और किसी के साथ बाय इशूइंग क्रेडिट नोट, मतलब आपको एक क्रेडिट नोट इशू नहीं किया। थर्ड, इसका रिफंड वो क्लेम नहीं करेंगे, राइट। तो ये एक सेल्फ सर्टिफिकेशन उनको लगेगा देना, उनको सबमिट करना पड़ेगा। द एप्लीकेंट शैल आल्सो सबमिट एनी अदर डॉक्यूमेंट, मतलब यही देना पड़ेगा। बट इसमें एक चीज ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा आपको कि अगर मैंने जैसे वो मैरिज का एक एग्जांपल दिया है, उसमें आपका क्या होता है, देखिए बैंक्वेट वाला अलग है, लाइट का अलग है, डेकोरेटर अलग है, केटरर अलग है, सब अलग अलग वेंडर्स है। तो हर सप्लायर के लिए आपको अलग से रिफंड फाइल करना है, हर सप्लायर। तो जैसे कि आपका मतलब जो केटरर है, ठीक है, मुन्ना महाराज का अगर बिल है, उनका जो बिल है उनका आपको अलग से आपको क्लेम करना पड़ेगा आपका रिफंड। और अगर आप सपोज बैंक्वेट वाले का, उनका रिफंड आपको अलग से क्लेम करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हर किसी का इनवॉइस का डिटेल, पेमेंट का डिटेल, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, ये आपको अलग से और सर्टिफिकेट भी आपको अलग से अपलोड करना पड़ेगा। तो इसमें जो ध्यान रखने वाली बात यह है कि अगर मेरे एक ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में 4-5 वेंडर इन्वॉल्व है एक ट्रांजेक्शन, तो उसमें 4-5 का अगर अलग अलग इनवॉइस, अलग अलग जीएसटी है, तो उसका हमें 4-5 अलग अलग रिफंड अप्लाई करना। तो इसमें और एक चीज भी ध्यान रखिएगा कि इसका टाइम जो है 2 साल का है, तो 2 साल से पहले आपको इसको अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा। और मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट रहेगा ऑल टू ऑल प्रोफेशनल ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स की इसके बारे में हम लोग जितना ज्यादा चर्चा करें अपने वेंडर्स, अपने क्लाइंट के साथ, उतना ही अच्छा है। एंड इसको जितना हम लोग शेयर करें, क्योंकि अभी भी काफी लोग हैं, फ्लैट ओनर्स या फिर नॉर्मल टैक्स पेयर्स, मतलब जो अनरजिस्टर्ड टैक्स पेयर्स है, दे आर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट दिस, एंड इसलिए क्या हो रहा है, उनका काफी सारे पैसे का लॉस हो जा रहा है। नेक्स्ट आई विल क्विकली कम टू द इशू ऑफ 3B वर्सेस 2A मिसमैच, जो कि एक पेन था 17-18 का। तो सर्कुलर 183 लाया गया। तो सर्कुलर 183 में क्या बताया गया कि सर अगर आपने 3B में ITC ले लिया है और वेंडर ने 2A में नहीं दिखाया है, और ये डिफरेंस जो है अगर 5 लाख से ज्यादा है, तो आपको आइदर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट या फिर CMA से आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट लेना होगा। ओके, उसमें क्या लिखा रहेगा कि ये सप्लाई एक्चुअली हुआ है एंड द टैक्स ऑन सच सप्लाईज हैव बीन पेड बाय द सप्लायर। लेकिन ये किनका CMA और CA करेगा? सप्लायर का, ना कि आपका। सपोज आप रिसिपिएंट हो, तो आपके 10 सप्लायर्स हैं जिनके कारण से आपके 2A और 3B में मिसमैच हो रहा है। तो ये 10 सप्लायर्स है, उनके CA ये सर्टिफिकेट देंगे। अगर सपोज जो भी वेंडर के साथ आपका 5 लाख का डिफरेंस या 5 लाख से ज्यादा डिफरेंस, अगर किसी वेंडर के साथ आपका डिफरेंस 5 लाख से नीचे है, तो ये जो सर्टिफिकेट है ये आपका सप्लायर ही देगा और कोई नहीं, ठीक है। और मतलब वो CA या CMA से सर्टिफिकेट नहीं लगेगा। तो ये जो आप हम लोग जहाँ पे अभी काफी सारे मैटर्स में हम लोगों ने ये सर्टिफिकेट दिया है, तो ये सर्टिफिकेट देने के बाद वो लोग एक्चुअली वेरीफाई कर रहे हैं कि ये 3B फाइल हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है। एंड ऑन वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ दैट, एंड इफ दे आर सीइंग दैट देयर इज नो नेगेटिव रिकॉर्ड अगेंस्ट दैट सप्लायर, बट प्लीज बी केयरफुल। इन सम ऑफ द सिचुएशंस हम लोगों को सर्टिफिकेट मिला है, बट हम लोगों ने देखा कि उस वेंडर का जो है कि वॉइड एब इनिशियो से कैंसल्ड हो गया है, ठीक है। और उन्होंने एक्चुअली 3B फाइल नहीं किया, बट क्योंकि सर्टिफिकेट का फॉर्मेट उनको मिल गया था, उन्होंने साइन करके दे दिया। तो प्लीज बी केयरफुल, ऑलवेज चेक वंस यू गेट द सर्टिफिकेट, प्लीज गो बैक टू द सर्च एज टैक्स पेयर मॉड्यूल। ये सर्च एज टैक्स पेयर कहाँ पे मिलता है? gst.gov.in में आप जा रहे हो, वहां पे जाके एक टैब है सर्च एज टैक्स, उसमें आप जाओ, GST नंबर डालो उनका, आप प्रोफाइल चेक कर लो कि एक्टिव है कि नहीं। अगर एक्टिव है तो फाइलिंग मॉड्यूल में जाके चेक कीजिए कि उनका 3B फाइल हुआ कि नहीं। ऐसा नहीं कि उन्होंने लिख दिया तो वही मतलब हम लोग मतलब गीता मान के चलेंगे कि हाँ ठीक है वही फाइनल है, ठीक है। तो नेक्स्ट जो सिचुएशन इसमें क्या है, उन्होंने 1B फाइल किया, 3B भी फाइल किया, बट एक सिंगल सप्लाई को नहीं दिखाया। सिमिलर थिंग, अगर वो मिसमैच 5 लाख से ज्यादा है, CA/CMA का सर्टिफिकेट लगेगा, 5 लाख से कम है तो आपका सेल्फ सप्लाई में होगा। वही लिखा रहेगा कि ये सप्लाई एक्चुअली हुआ है और उस पर टैक्स जो है वो एक्चुअली पेमेंट हुआ है। नेक्स्ट ये क्या हुआ है कि सप्लाई टू रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन हुआ है, इनवॉइस भी इशू हुआ है, बट ये फार्मा में मेनली हुआ है, फार्मा और FMCG में मेनली हुआ है। क्या हुआ है कि वो B2B सप्लाई था, ठीक है ना, बट गलती से व्हाट हैपेंड इज द सप्लायर हैज मेंशनड इट एज B2C। तो इसमें ध्यान रखने की बात यह है कि उन्होंने अपना 1 का जो टर्नओवर है वो ठीक है, और उन्होंने 3B में भी पेमेंट कर दिया है। तो यहाँ पे भी जो है आपको वो सेम सर्टिफिकेट आपको लेना पड़ेगा from the concerned supplier to the effect that said supplies have been actually made by him and the tax on such supplies have been paid by the said supplier is returned in 3B। तो इसमें क्या है, जो सर्टिफिकेट आप ले रहे हो वो तो स्टैंडर्ड है कि सप्लाई किया है और मैंने पेमेंट किया, बट ये जो गलती भी हुआ है ना उसके बारे में भी आप सर्टिफिकेट लिखवा लो। जैसे हम लोग लिखा ले रहे हैं कि उसमें कि मेरा ये जो है मैंने इसको B2B में सेल किया, बट मेरे पास GST नंबर नहीं रहने के कारण मैंने इसको B2C में दिखाया है, ठीक है, और फिर मैंने इसका जो पेमेंट है मैंने 3B में किया। तो जो भी डिटेल है उसका भी आपको करना चाहिए। नेक्स्ट इज, इसमें क्या हुआ कि GSTN ऑफ रिसिपिएंट वाज रॉन्ग। तो मुझे किसी के GSTN में देना था, वेस्ट बंगाल के GSTN में किसी का देना था, बट मैंने क्या किया, अभी रिसेंटली एक मैटर में हम लोगों के पास आया फ्रॉम अ पर्टिकुलर स्टेट वेरिन, जहां पे इसमें क्या हुआ है कि उनका 4 ऑफिस इन 4 स्टेट्स। तो सप्लायर ने क्या किया, सप्लायर ने सप्लाई किया त्रिपुरा में, बट जब GSTR 1 उन्होंने फाइल किया तो वेस्ट बंगाल का GSTN डाल दिया। तो क्या हो रहा है, मेरे वेस्ट बंगाल के GSTR 2 में वो एक्सेस दिखा रहा है और त्रिपुरा में कम दिखा रहा है। तो इसके बारे में भी आप क्या वो सेम चीज गलती लिख के कि देखो ये 1 इस महीने के 1 में हम लोगों ने इस GSTN में गलती से डाल दिया था इस GSTN के प्लेस में, बट द थिंग इज दैट द थिंग हैज बीन पेड, ठीक है। एंड देन द जुरिडिक्शनल ऑफिसर ही इज एक्चुअली चेकिंग ऑल दिस थिंग्स, एंड अगर उनको ठीक लग रहा है कि मतलब ये है, मतलब ये जेन्युइन है, 3B फाइल हुआ है, तो देन दे आर एक्चुअली allowing this. And in the case of GSTN of wrong recipient, उसमें they are also sending to the other proper officer if they can send it, and they are asking if it is in the same state, they are asking to confirm whether this particular invoice is shown in your GSTN in this particular month. But many of the proper officers, they are checking on the face of the 3B and they are trying to see whether it's okay or not, and they are allowing this particular month. So इसमें जो क्वेश्चन जो ट्रेड्स आ रहे हैं, वो एक फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाट हैपेंस इफ द वेंडर इज नॉट ट्रेसेबल नाउ। चलो मान लिया कि मेरा 3B और 1 में 2B में 2A में डिफरेंस है, बट मेरा जो वेंडर है जिसको मैंने पेमेंट किया था वो अभी ही और शी इज नॉट ट्रेसेबल एट ऑल। तो इसका हम लोग क्या करें? तो डिपार्टमेंट इज ऑफ द व्यू, अगर आप सर्टिफिकेट नहीं ला सकते हो आइदर फ्रॉम द सप्लायर इफ द अमाउंट इज बिलो 5 लाख और फ्रॉम द चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट ऑफ द CMA if his amount is below above 5 lakhs, then we don't have anything to do. Okay, so friends, try to understand that in this case wherein the vendor is not traceable, the thing is that the department is assuming that the 3B is not been filed, so the money is not been received by the revenue, so ITC will not be allowed. So in some cases, some of the clients, they are trying the writ route by trying to file the writs against it, because according to them they have already made the payment, and now making the payment along with interest of almost 110% and penalty would be unfair on their part. So they are going to move the writ courts. Let's see what happens on them. But interestingly, beyond this, another interesting question has been raised in one of the seminars I've gone. One of the participants has actually raised this interesting question that, sir, आप बोल रहे हो कि जिसने 3B फाइल किया है और 1 में GSTN गलत डाला है या 1 में फाइल नहीं किया है, उससे आप बोल रहे हो कि एक सर्टिफिकेट लिखवा के लाओ कि उसने they have made the supply and they have made the payment in 3B. फिर सर आप प्रोविसो टू सेक्शन 16(4) के लिए आप मेरा वो ITC क्यों डिसअलाउ कर रहे हो जो कि वेंडर ने आफ्टर 13 अप्रैल 2019 फाइल किया है? ये रेस्ट्रिक्शन कहां से आ रहा है? प्रोविसो टू सेक्शन 16(4) says that for 17-18, if the vendor does not upload his returns within the due date for March 2019 GSTR 1, okay, then the credit will not be eligible to the recipient. So just imagine, इसमें क्या हो रहा है, इसमें मेरा जो वेंडर है उसने लेट से 1 फाइल किया, बट फाइल तो क्या है ना, मेरा 2A में दिख रहा है वो अमाउंट, बट लेट से किया है, तो इसमें मेरा रिजेक्शन हो रहा है। बट मेरा जहां पे कि वेंडर ने 1 में दिखाया ही नहीं, 1 में दिखाया नहीं है बट 3B में फाइल किया, तो उसके लिए हमें मिल रहा है। So in my humble submission, this particular relief should also be given to the people whose ITC is getting restricted because of the ruling or because of the working of proviso to section 16(4). because यहाँ पे और एक भी चीज हम लोग ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि अगर उन्होंने लेट से 1 फाइल किया है और 3B भी फाइल किया है, the tax has also been received by the revenue. So in my personal view, both of them are on the equal footing, and so circular 183 should also be made applicable to matters wherein proviso to section 16(4) is being hit. Next is what happens if the invoice is shown but with incorrect figures. So इसमें क्या हो रहा है कि इनवॉइस दिखाया है 1 लाख का इनवॉइस था, बट जब उन्होंने 1 में फाइल किया है, उन्होंने फाइल किया उसको 80,000, तो 20,000 का कम दिखा है। तो इसमें वेदर सर्कुलर 183 विल बी वर्किंग ऑन नॉट। So according to the view of one proper officer, he's saying that no. Circular 183 says that wherever the invoice is not being shown, यहाँ पे तो invoice दिखाया है, and he has shown it less. But the fact is that I have given to him 1 lakh, and I've made, sorry, I've got an invoice of 1 lakh. I don't have a credit note, and I've made in payment of 1 lakh plus tax, that is 1,18,000. So in this case, why will the ITC on the remaining 20,000 not be allowed? That is a big question that needs to be seen. Okay, because if I am being told कि किसी ने 1 में return 1 में नहीं दिखाया किसी invoice को, but 3B में payment किया, उसका relief मिलेगा. तो अगर किसी ने 1 में गलत invoice दिखाया है, कम दिखाया है, तो इसके लिए why should the recipient be punished? In my view, in the same relief should also be given to them, even though the invoice amount is less, because I have an invoice, I have the proof of payment that I have made the payment for 1 lakh plus 18,000. Right? So even in my view, the benefit of Circular 183 should be eligible to such cases, but it is up to the wisdom of the particular taxpayers to fight the matters, because in one of the show cause notice that I am defending, I have taken this view, and we are also going ahead and filing an appeal. If need be, we will also be moving the High Court, because what I feel that there is there is no equality here, because Article 14 is being breached, because somebody whose invoice is not uploaded, but 3B has been filed, if he's eligible to get that credit, why a person whose ITC of 1 lakh is being shown as 80,000, 20,000 short will not be eligible? Now coming to the next matter, which is in section 132. So एक प्रॉब्लम हो रहा था, हम लोग ये सर्च सीजर हो रहा था हम लोग का. तो सर्च सीजर में क्या हो रहा था, तो whenever the proper officer is coming, and or even in case of summons also, whenever the taxpayer is being asked to give a statement, at that time there are a lot of situations which are happening as if which may be interpreted in two ways. So suppose आपके जो accountant है, उनको पूछा गया कि अच्छा आप मुझे पूरा बिजनेस मॉड्यूल बताओ, आप एक यूनिवर्सिटी चला रहे हो, तो पूरा यूनिवर्सिटी का जो मॉड्यूल है, एफिलिएशन कैसे मिलता है, आप लोग कैसे करते हो, एग्जाम्स कैसे वगैरह वगैरह, एंड एवरीथिंग, टेल मी एवरीथिंग डिटेल. तो अकाउंटेंट ने बता दिया, सर मेरा काम है इनवॉइस रेज करना, वो मैं जानता हूँ, मेरा काम है पेमेंट देखना, कैश बुक करना है, बैलेंस शीट करना, आप बताओ, इसे मैं बता दूंगा. मोडस ऑपरेंडी मुझे कैसे मालूम है, इनवॉइस का एफिलिएशन कैसे लाना पड़ता है, एग्जाम्स कैसे, ये थोड़े ना मुझे मालूम. तो he was told you are obstructing an officer in the discharge of the duties under this act. ठीक है, आप मुझे काम करने नहीं दे रहे हो क्योंकि आप मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन प्रॉपर्ली नहीं दे रहे हो, so you are actually obstructing, and he was being told that you will be prosecuted under section 1. Then tampering with or destroy any material evidence or documents. So इसमें क्या हो रहा था, practical situation, tally का data सारा लिया गया था, सब कुछ लिया गया था, everything was taken, right? And then next, after maybe 10 or 15 days, they asked for all the invoices. Okay, all the invoice copies for 6 months. There was some issue that there was an allegation of fake credit. So they said, give us all the invoices for 6 months. So when the taxpayer said, sir, 6 months ka invoice to apne yahan pe nahi, to go down mein rehta, because we keep it with a particular service company who keep all these documents. It's a storage company to do it. So we will send the requisition. It will come maybe in 3 to 4 days. Then we will give this. Then they raise an allegation, you are tampering material evidence, because you have intentionally sent this invoice. So these are, I'll not say that it has been done universally, but yes, in some of the situations, due to interpretation issues as to what would be considered as tampering, okay, or destroying any material evidence, because in Evidence Act also doesn't have the details of what would be defined as destroying. So then about the next part is fail to supply any information which is required to supply under the Act or the rules made thereunder. So I will not name the company, but a reputed company, the CFO, he was asked to give offhand the margins of his trade. कि आपके trade में कितना margins होता है वो आप बताओ. Okay, so because we know that this company is making this margin, this company, how come your company is making so less a margin? So why are you paying so less a tax? So 132 में basically prosecution में 3 of the offenses, they have been deleted. And what are they? First is obstruction or preventing any officer in the discharge of duties. Second is tampering or destroying any material evidence. And third is failure to supply any information. Because at times we are really restricted. We don't have that opportunity of giving those informations. The CFO may not be aware. Take the case of a white goods industry. अब टीवी में सैमसंग का प्रॉफिट कितना है, तोशिबा का कितना है, शार्प का कितना है, एंड हायर का, हुआई का कितना है, margins and all this may not be available to the CFO at one stand, so they cannot be told that they are withholding the information that needs. So that was as far as the prosecution under 132 was concerned. Now another important provision which has been brought in. Please be careful, because we are saying here that they can any information that is shared by you, okay, any information that is being shared by you, either in your returns or your registrations or your annual return, wherever it is there, wherever it is uploaded, that can be shared. That can be actually shared with anybody, and you are giving an consent to that. And once the consent is given, all the data can be shared with anybody. And here, one important thing is that you please read the third clause, which says, notwithstanding anything contained in law for the time being in force, no action shall lie against the government or the common portal with respect to any liability arising consequent to information shared under this section, and there shall be no impact on the liability to pay tax on the relevant supply or as per the relevant returns. Okay, so if this information which is being shared, if this privileged information gets somehow compromised, there is no liability on it. But only fact is that the consent has to be given. And once what is the other corollary? Whenever I'm going to any webinar or seminar, many people are asking me is that, Arup, why are you discussing this even? This to dena hi padega. Sirs and madams, please remember, consent to dena padega. That is there. But you also need to remember that once you're giving the consent, you also need to be careful. And all these reconciliations with your income tax, the ROC data, MSME data, bank data, whether we are doing it properly or not. If as per the reconciliations, there are differences in tax payable or ITC available, like recently in one of the matters audits that I've been handling, in the 3CD, ITC availability is given as a different figure, which is different from what is there in the electronic trade ledger. So we need to understand that now all this data is being co-shared. The co-sharing is going to start. So once we submit and file all these documents, these need to be reconciled and they need to be mutually seen. And that is the responsibility of the professional who is doing, or maybe the taxpayer who is compiling the entire data. But we need to be very careful here that whatever data we are giving, that is going to be used for analytical purpose and maybe used against us also to a certain extent if we are not maybe following the proper mechanism of showing our output taxes or ITC. So now coming too quickly to the recent waivers of late fees that are there. तो ये था क्या कॉम्पोजिशन डीलर्स का एक रिक्वायरमेंट था, एक रिक्वेस्ट था काफी दिनों से कि सर हमें तो मालूम ही नहीं था कि रिटर्न कैसे फाइल करना पड़ेगा एंड ऑल दिस थिंग. हम लोग का तो बिल रिटर्न भी है, ये है वो है, हम लोग इतना लेट फीस नहीं दे सकते. हम लोग तो इसमें क्या था कि आपको सॉरी आपको अगर आपका कॉम्पोजिशन डीलर कोई भी है और उन्होंने अगर रिटर्न फाइल नहीं किया, एज वी ऑल नो 17, 18, 18, 19 वाज क्वार्टरली, तो क्वार्टरली अगर वो रिटर्न फाइल करेंगे और नील रिटर्न है तो कोई भी लेट फीस नहीं है. और अगर उनका कुछ उसमें टर्नओवर ग्रेटर देन 0, फिर उसमें उनको 500 पर रिटर्न 250 CGST 250 SGST उनको भरना पड़ेगा. एंड दैट इज फॉर रिटर्न. तो अगर क्वार्टर रिटर्न है तो 8 क्वार्टर रिटर्न को उनको देना पड़ेगा. एंड देन एनुअल, फिर उसके बाद 1920 से 21-22 तक आपका ये एनुअल रिटर्न हो गया. So similarly, if it's a nil return, you pay nil, and if it's a annual return is payable, turnover is more than 0, then you have to pay 500 return per return, 500 rupees late fee per return. But as you know, I'll tell you interestingly क्या होता है ना, ये waiver schemes जब भी आते हैं ना, तब इसके 2-3 महीने के बाद कुछ लोग आते हैं, पूछते हैं अरे कोई waiver scheme आएगा क्या, या तो तब हम लोग बता रहे सर अभी तो ट्रेन निकल गया, अभी कुछ दिन ही पहले अभी था ना 30th जून तक आप कर सकते थे, आप किए नहीं, अभी तो चला गया, अभी तो होगा नहीं. Because as you know, recently there was this waiver for GST 1 and all, but many people did not file, and now they are saying कि अभी कैसे फाइल करेंगे. So that's why it's our responsibility as professionals to inform the taxpayers as far as possible कि now is the time where the deadline is April 1 to June 30th, जो भी करना है वो करके फाइल करें. नहीं तो इसके बाद आप फाइल करने से फिर आपका लेट फीस का वेवर आपको नहीं मिलेगा, गो बैक टू ओरिजिनल लेट. Okay, next, this is a very important provision which is there, and I think we have already got, I mean, to taxpayers, we have already got this relief. And what is this relief? It is saying that, you know, your registration was cancelled. Okay, and this is mainly happened during COVID, okay, 2021, 22. So what happened? You didn't file the returns for 6 months or so. आपके पास नोटिस गया, आप नोटिस भी नहीं दिखा कि आपका मतलब मेल जिसका है उनका मेल कॉन्फ़िगर किया, उनका मेल पे जा रहा है, वो दिखते नहीं है. आपके एसएमएस भी आया था, आपने वो भी ध्यान नहीं दिया, तो चलो कोई बात नहीं, आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल हो गया. इसके बाद रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल के बाद भी आपके पास जो है कि रिवोकेशन का टाइम था 30 दिन का, वो भी आपने अवेल नहीं किया. वो गवर्नमेंट ने जाके बाद में बढ़ा दिया कि चलो 60 दिन तक ज्वाइंट कमिश्नर, एडिशनल कमिश्नर, 90 दिन तक कमिश्नर भी अप्रूवल दे सकते हैं अगर आप रिवोकेशन फाइल करना चाहते हैं. बट मेनी टैक्स पेयर्स हैव फेल्ड टू डू दैट आल्सो. सो नाउ दे आर सेइंग, बट इसमें एक चीज ध्यान रखिएगा, दिस इज ओनली फॉर पीपल whose registration was cancelled for non-filing of returns. Because last week I got some WhatsApp messages saying that, you know, my registration was cancelled for non-existence of business. So now please file my revocation application. जल्दी से कर दीजिए क्योंकि वो आ गया है, कुछ revocation का कुछ amnesty आया है. Please remember that whatever relief has been given here, it is only for taxpayers who have not filed their returns and because of which the registration was cancelled. And what is the deadline? 31st December 22 से पहले ये cancellation होना पड़ेगा. And then even if say what had happened, आपका registration cancel हो गया था, आपने cancellation के against में appeal file किया, वो appeal आपका reject हो गया, या फिर आपने revocation के लिए file किया था, revocation reject हो गया, revocation के against में आपने appeal file किया, वो appeal pending है या फिर reject हो गया, जो भी है आपने appeal किया वो pending है या reject हो गया, कोई भी कारण से अगर है, for non-compliance of section 31, in that case what you can do, you can file revocation. तो रिवोकेशन आपको कब से कब फाइल करना पड़ेगा? 1 अप्रैल 23 टू 30 जून 23. जो भी जितने भी रिलीज आए हैं, देयर फ्रॉम 1 अप्रैल 23 टू 30 जून 23. एंड फ्रेंड्स, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू शेयर दैट दिस टाइम द बैक एंड इंटीग्रेशन इज डन फर्स्ट and then the notification have been introduced. And why do I say so? On 1st of April, we have filed a GST 9 with a reduced late fee. So that was actually done for my testing, because on 2nd I had a webinar. So I thought before I go to the webinar, I should do the testing of my own. So my team has actually tested, and we could see that, you know, the system is in place. So whatever. So now here that is the thing. So but here another important condition is that, which is normally the condition for revocation, जितने भी आपके pending registration, pending returns है, please इसमें थोड़ा ध्यान दीजिए. Pending returns till the effective date of cancellation of registration, they have to be filed along with payment of tax, interest and late fees. I have used the word effective date of cancellation or not date of cancellation. क्या होता है? मेरे क्लाइंट का February 23 में कैंसिल हुआ है, बट इनका इफेक्टिव डेट ऑफ कैंसिलेशन था 1 अप्रैल 2022. तो इनको रिटर्न कब तक फाइल करना पड़ेगा? 31 मार्च 2022, ना कि February 23. Okay, because there is this common doubt that whether it's date of cancellation or effective date of cancellation. Here they have clearly told in the notification release, all returns have to be filed till the effective date of cancellation of registration. तो वो देख लीजिए effective date of cancellation कौन सा है, वहां तक आप रिटर्न फाइल कर दीजिए, but it should be a valid return. That is, all taxes, interest and penalty, everything should be paid there. Nothing can be due. क्योंकि अगर आप अगर revocation file करते हो, that revocation may get cancelled again. So please file the returns properly up to the effective date of cancellation and then file your revocation application. Now, one question is being asked in some of the webinars and seminars, that is, sir, मेरा तो cancellation हुआ था, मैंने revocation किया था, फिर revocation का जो appeal है, वो मैंने क्या किया, 4 महीने के बाद जाके किया. Appeal का जो time रहता है 3+1, तो इसके लिए मेरा appeal reject हो गया. तो क्या मैं revocation file कर सकता हूँ? Though in the wordings of the notification it is said that only if the appeal is rejected on the ground of non-compliance of section 30, then only it can be done. But in my view, अगर किसी भी कारण से appeal reject हुआ in case of revocation, even in that case also the revocation application can be filed. So you can actually try that. And if you are not getting success, maybe you can tell me then, because that needs to be represented properly. Next is the relief in best judgment assessment. तो इसमें क्या है? इसमें आपने रिटर्न नहीं लगाया, मतलब ये रिटर्न फाइल नहीं किया. You have not filed return for quite long time, and the proper officer has sent you a notice under Section 46 saying that please file your returns within 30 days from the date of the notice, or else we will process with the best judgment assessment. So 15 days का आपको नोटिस मिलता है अगर GST 3A. आपको नोटिस मिलता है कि भाई आपने 3B फाइल नहीं किया या फिर आपने बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट. तो आपने फाइल नहीं किया, डिपार्टमेंट ने 15 डेज के बाद बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट कर दिया. अब कोविड का माहौल था, कोविड का टाइम था, तो कोविड के पहले 2021 में आपका टर्नओवर क्या था? बहुत ही अच्छा. सॉरी, 1920 में क्या था? आपका टर्नओवर बहुत ही अच्छा था, आपका 20 करोड़ का टर्नओवर था. 2021 में कोविड आ गया तो आपका टर्नओवर घट के 1.5 करोड़ हो गया. अभी 21-22 का रिटर्न आपने फाइल नहीं किया, तो ऑफिसर, प्रॉपर ऑफिसर, he was kind. He said 2021 में कोविड था, तो that cannot be the reference point. I will take reference point of 1920. तो 1920 में उनका 20 करोड़ था, तो इस साल एटलीस्ट उनका 20 करोड़ का टर्नओवर होना चाहिए, ये बोल के उन्होंने असेसमेंट करके डिमांड भेज दिया. अब आपके पास रिटर्न, आपके पास डिमांड आ गया, तो आपने देखा कि चलो इतना बड़ा एक डिमांड है, तो इसका तो मैं मुझे तो पेमेंट कितना करना है वो मैं कर दूंगा. तो आपने पेमेंट भी कर दिया, ठीक है. सपोज आपका जो है आपका 50 लाख का टैक्स बनता है, तो आपने 50 लाख का टैक्स भर दिया, आपने सारा फाइल ऑल द रिटर्न ऑल्सो, बट unfortunately you have filed the return after 30 days, and section 62 subsection 2 says you have to file the return only within 30 days. अगर 30 days के बाद फाइल करते हैं, then it will not be deemed to be withdrawn, right? So what is happening? I have filed the returns properly for that period, but the proper officer could not withdraw the demand, and the demand was actually showing in my portal. I was writing letters to the proper officer. Proper officer is saying you have filed it after 30 days, so I cannot do anything. So then, in some of the cases, even there was recovery was being initiated, because they are saying that the demand is showing, and so there is a there is a pressure that recovery should start. Recovery started. So as recovery was starting, I filed appeal also, and now appellate authority is saying, why didn't you pay? Why didn't you file the return within time? Okay, so now I will not go there, and so appeal is also. So because of this, there was a huge hue and cry, and people are moving the writ courts. They were moving the high court, saying that मुझे relief दीजिए, क्योंकि ये मैं जो है 30 days में मुझे देना था, but मैंने 31 days पे दिया. या फिर कुछ cases में there was a very high pitch assessment, and they have not filed the returns. They have gone directly to the high court, and it is pending in the high court, right? So I will also give you some. I have also shared here some of the case laws wherein the High Court of Kerala, Honorable High Court of Kerala said returns are filed more than 30 days after the receipt of the orders by the petitioner. The petitioner cannot be heard to contend that series of orders ought to be set aside in terms of 62. Though Section 62 was very time bound. Next, in bridge hygiene also, the High Court of Kerala said even after the receipt of the order of assessment, it failed to avail the remedy provided under Section 2. Under such circumstances, one cannot entertain the challenges raised by against the best judgment assessment. So all high courts are also giving judgments against the taxpayers for not being compliant, not being received. So now this relief has come. What is the relief saying? Assessment order will be deemed to be withdrawn if the registered person shall furnish the said return on or before the 30th day of June 2023. Okay, but here please remember that the assessment order has to be issued on or before 28th day of February 2023, and it will be deemed to be withdrawn before 30th day of June 2023 if the return accompanied by interest, whatever it is there, that has been paid, that has been already filed. Okay, the return which is to be filed, whether it is your 3B or your final return, okay, GST 10, whatever is pending for which the best judgment assessment has happened, that has already been filed, within that 30 days notice, or whatever interest is being paid, that interest is already paid. In all these cases, the relief will be granted. The assessment order will be deemed to be withdrawn irrespective of whether or not appeal has been filed against. So even if you have filed an appeal or you have moved the writ court also, in that case also the the appeal will be withdrawn. Sorry, the demand will be withdrawn if the taxpayer files the returns within 30th June 2023 along with the valid interest that needs to. तो इसमें क्या है, काफी लोग अभी जो अपील में है या फिर जिन्होंने 30 डेज के बाद दिया है, सबके लिए एक बड़ा रिलीफ है. तो नाउ इफ एनी टैक्सपेयर इज देयर फॉर whom there was an order under section 62 base judgment has been, this is the right time that file the return as per your calculations and then intimate the proper officer so that the order is actually deemed to be uniform. Okay, this is the amendment in the 16.2.2 which is being proposed in the 49th GST Council meeting, that let it be made from 30 days to 60 days, extended by another 60 days. Okay, so another relief which is there is in the annual return. Annual return में क्या लाया गया है? See, what is the situation right now? 200 rupees per day subject to a cap of 0.5% of the turnover. Okay, 0.5% of the turnover. Just imagine the huge late fees that is paid. So now, as I said, considering the vision of the Honorable Finance Minister, in Saptarishi and Amritkal budget that has been presented, Atmanirbhar Bharat that has already been a pitch, MSME are being provided a relief again here. And in what form? From the year 22-23 onwards, for the taxpayers whose turnover is within 5 crores, within 5 crore, for them the late fees will be only 50 rupees per day, and the cap is 0.04% of the turnover. And if your turnover is between 5 crores to 20 crores, the larger MSMEs, for them again the late fees will be 100 rupees per day, subject to a maximum cap of 0.04%. But friends, please remember, for the large corporates, means turnover above 20 crores, there is no relief. From 22-23 onwards, there is no relief. Their late fee stands at 200 per day and a maximum of 0.5% of the turnover. Whatever relief is being given, it is only for the small taxpayers. But don't be disheartened, because for the large taxpayers also, for the last 5 years, a complete relief has been given, wherein they have said from 17-18 to 21-22, for any GST 9 that will be filed after a delay, the maximum late fee is being now capped at 20,000 rupees. Okay, the maximum late fees has been capped as 20,000 rupees, which was actually coming to 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, for some of the clients. But please remember here also, the relief, whatever relief in the late fees is possible, that is only possible if and only if you are filing the annual return within 1st April 23 to 30th June 23. And as I told you, this has already been implemented in the system. We have already filed an annual return on 1st of April with the lower fees. I think again here, it's our duty to go back to the taxpayers and inform them as to how the relief can be taken. And GST 10, I have seen, ये बहुत एक अच्छा सिचुएशन होता है कि हर कोई क्या करता है, कैंसिलेशन के बाद सोचता है चलो कैंसिलेशन हो गया तो गंगा नहा लिया, अभी कुछ नहीं करना पड़ेगा, अभी बस बात खत्म, अभी पैसे बिजनेस कर रहे तो करेंगे. बट काफी लोग ये भूल जाते हैं कि एक एनुअल और एक फाइनल रिटर्न बोल के कुछ है, एक वस्तु है जो कि फाइल करना पड़ता है, एंड दैट नीड्स टू बी फाइल्ड within 3 months from the date of cancellation or date of order of cancellation, whichever is later. So काफी लोग क्या है कि GST 10 फाइल नहीं किए, तो इसके लिए क्या हो रहा है कि उनका भी बेस्ट जजमेंट असेसमेंट हुआ है, एंड देयर इज लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन एंड ऑल. सो नाउ there is this relief saying that if you are filing your GST 10 from 1st April 23 to 30th June 23, the total late fees has been capped at 1,000 rupees. Because all these people, they are saying कि सर एक तो हम लोगों ने कैंसिलेशन करवा दिया अपना, क्यों करवा दिया, या फिर आपने कैंसिल करवा दिया अपना रजिस्ट्रेशन, तो इसलिए करवा दिया कि बिजनेस अपना छोटा है, नहीं हो रहा है, या जो भी कारण से हुआ है, उसके बाद अगर इतना लंबा लेट फीस देना पड़ेगा, देन इट्स अ ह्यूज बर्डन. सो only if you file your final, तो अगर किसी का कैंसिलेशन हो गया है और उन्होंने फाइनल रिटर्न नहीं दिया है, ये गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि आप उनको रिक्वेस्ट कीजिए कि बोलिए कि आप अपना एनुअल रिटर्न जो है कि अभी फाइल करें. So, and this is a change in the OIDR. I will not discuss much into this because see what is happening. This is coming from the service tax era only. Is with this word essentially automated and involving minimum human intervention, especially in case of medical transcription. Okay, medical transcription में फिर आपका मतलब in cases of some of the digital question answer things, जहाँ पे कि आप क्वेश्चन पोस्ट करते हो, फिर रिप्लाई आता है वगैरह वगैरह. बट यहाँ पे people could not be, the thing could not be appreciated. I'll give an example. एक वेबसाइट है ठीक है ना, आज के दिन में हम क्या करते हैं, we go to Google and put the question, okay, right, whatever question, what is the best TV or whatever, features of this mobile and whatever. So now there is a portal jahan pe you can ask scientific questions, okay, like what happens when calcium carbonate is reacted with, sodium bisulfite or what things like that. And isme kya hota hai ki the question goes to 10 good senior professors, and then the 10 senior professors give a reply to that, and the reply is sent to the queries. So isme jo hai, the department is of the view that there is lot of human intervention. So how can this be OIDER? Okay, and यहाँ पे OIDER का question क्यों उठ रहा था? क्योंकि this is an Indian company which is doing this for their customers abroad. Okay, and they are already registered in those countries, in those jurisdictions wherein they are supplying the service. So, just to avoid all this litigation, because this OIDER, it was creating a lot of confusion because of these words essentially automated and involving minimum human intervention. Because in case of some of the OIDERs that is there, some kind of manual intervention was required, which could be made, more than the normal that minimum is considered. So that those were not being considered as OIDER, and that was creating even more confusion. Okay, so any unregistered person, so non-taxable ordinary supply is being told us, and unregistered person receiving online information and database access or retrieval services located in taxable territory. So non-taxable online recipient is defined who's any unregistered. So there is no definition ki government hona chahiye, and all those things are there. Only thing they have clarified is that a person who's registered only for the purpose of TDS, okay, they will not be considered as taxable, registered for the purpose of NTOR definition. Okay, so this is the definition of NTOR which has changed. So non-taxable, if you see the previous definition, it was government, local authority, government authority, not registered, receiving online database access, and so many other things. Now it's any unregistered person receiving online information and database access or retrieval services located in taxable territory. So now the tax base is increased. So many people are now being charged as tax. So anybody who is being, so other than commerce industry, this has been removed. So even if you are taking it for other than commerce industry or whatever may be the purpose, in that case, the OIDER has to take a registration, and they are bound. If they are making any supply to the NTOR, non-taxable online recipient, to him when they are making the supply, they have to charge the GST. They have to pay GST on that. Okay, so with this, I would like to really appreciate my gratitude for my friends Venu, Unni, and Unniji and Arpitji, and also to my team members Sriparna, Anindita, Joymal, and Shobodit, who have helped me in the presentation. Special thanks to DDPA Kolkata, which is a family to me basically, for giving me this wonderful opportunity today to share my views in the group discussion. So I think we have sufficient time for the Q&A now. So, and thanks to the participants, I can see some of the participants like Rajivji from Ludhiana and participants from other parts of the country. So thanks to all of them for joining. Thank you very much.
Arup, will you cover SOD also?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. SOD is also. Yes.
Sir, Arup sir got very much passionate,
Yeah. You will take some questions on GST first and then move to SOD.
Okay. I think that will, because SOD is only for 5 minutes.
Okay, then you can finish, and after that we can take the questions.
Okay. So SOD is basically a scheme which had come in, as President already shared, it had come in the month of January 2020. But unfortunately, COVID came, and so there are many number of cases which will not be covered under SOD. So many cases which were decided after the deadline date of 31st December 2019, and there was an idea as to how they can be brought under SOD. So there was a huge demand because a lot of cases are already pending the legacy dispute. So now the settlement of dispute scheme has come under the West Bengal VAT, sales tax, GST, and entry tax. And please remember the date here is 10th February. Here the cutoff date is 10th February 2023. So if you are discussing of any orders, of any audits, whatever is there, it has to be, the demand has to be raised within 10th February 2023. Now, what is the last date for filing of the application? 31st May 2023. We are actually waiting for the applications to come, and we are expecting that maybe the applications will come within the next Monday itself, and we can start filing. But the last date for filing the application would be 31st May 2023, as has been announced in the budget. Okay, so applicable period of dispute is any period. अगर आपका कुछ भी डिमांड बाकी है 2010 मेरे एक क्लाइंट का 2012 का डिमांड बाकी है, suddenly we got a letter saying that why you have not paid taxes and all, and the client said that we are not even aware, it is not there in the contingent liabilities in the balance sheet, तो इसका क्या करें? So I told him, sir, wait for SOD, अगर SOD आता है तो देखेंगे. So anyways, so we didn't file any appeal and all because we did not raise the documents. So any period prior to 30th June 2017 before implementation of GST is being covered, कुछ भी demand है तो उसका apply कर सकते हो. So what are the cases? Audit, special audit or assessment has been made. As we know, under West Bengal VAT, there was a provision of audit and special audit. Special audit was taken in special cases like in mismatch of forms, excess availment of ITC, lower payment of taxes, mismatch of ITC reflected by the parties and things like that. Or even an assessment has been made. Or, appeal has been filed, review or petition has been filed. Or third thing is a notice or an order has been issued for payment of tax. Like just I said, in 2012, this notice was made. But after that, there was no appeal, nothing was there. We just have an order. उसके against में कुछ नहीं हुआ है, कोई recovery proceeding भी चालू नहीं हुआ था. So we have the order dated that. A notice issued in any proceeding under the relevant act proposing payment of tax, interest, late fee or penalty. I will take this item number 4 last. I'll just finish item number 5. Application pending before the WBVAT Tax Tribunal or High Court or Supreme Court. So regarding entry tax, many of the taxpayers ऊपर लगा था कि entry tax नहीं देना पड़ेगा. There are a lot of disputes, so many people have moved. So now many people are thinking that okay, there have been decisions favorable, unfavorable. A lot of movements have taken place. So now many people are thinking that okay, with SOD we'll complete all those pending litigations. So for them, if there is any pending litigation which is there before the tax tribunal or the Honorable High Court or the Supreme Court, they can always go for this. Now I'll come to item number 4, which is saying a notice issued in any proceedings under relevant acts. Friends, many of you may have faced GST audit already for 17-18. 17-18 में 17-18 में GSTR 9C में एक जगह था जहां पे कि आपको दिखाना पड़ता था टर्नओवर अंडर द अर्सवेल रेजिम. तो आपने वहां पे दिखा दिया 10 करोड़, राइट? आपने दिखा दिया 10 करोड़, लेकिन आपका जब GST ऑडिट हो रहा है डिपार्टमेंट और आप जब वैट आपका सिर्फ फॉर सेक ऑफ सिंपलिसिटी कंसीडर कि आपका सिर्फ वैट का ही रजिस्ट्रेशन, तो आपने जब वैट का रिटर्न दिखाया तो उसमें आपने दिखाया 7 करोड़. तो GST ऑडिट वाले बोल रहे हैं कि भाई आप दिखा रहे इसमें 10 करोड़ 9C में, लेकिन आपने वैट रिटर्न में दिया 7 करोड़, तो बैलेंस 3 करोड़ का क्या है? तो इन दिस केसेस many notices have been issued. Only notices were issued under VAT because these matters were referred to the VAT authorities. इसका थोड़ा review करो. So many notices were issued, okay, saying that as per VAT they have shown turnover of 7 crores during April to June, but इसमें जो है कि they have shown 10 crores. So why is that? Apart from that, there is another case which many of my friends I have seen in the department. Many of us meeting there in the same matter, which is 16-17 का टर्नओवर जो आपने वैट में दिखाया और 16-17 का टर्नओवर जो आपने जुलाई का GSTR 1 में आपको दिखाना पड़ता था कि एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर ऑफ प्रीवियस ईयर, ठीक है? तो आपने 16-17 का वैट रिटर्न में दिखा दिया 5 करोड़ और एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर ऑफ GSTR 1 में आपने दिखा दिया 8 करोड़. तो ये डिफरेंस 3 करोड़ क्यों हो रहा है? इसके लिए भी काफी लोगों का नोटिस आया एंड काफी जगह पे अगर आपने यू कुड एक्सप्लेन द मैटर्स हैव बीन ड्रॉप्ड. जिन्होंने एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाए उनका फाइल रीअसेसमेंट के लिए ओपन हुआ है. तो इन ऑल दिस केसेस अगर आपका ऐसा कोई मैटर है जहां पे कि आपका नोटिस मिला है जस्ट बिकॉज देयर वाज अ मिसमैच और आपको लगता है कि दैट अमाउंट शुड हैव बीन डिक्लेयर्ड अंडर वैट, so even you can actually avail that particular benefit in under this cases. So that is one area because देखिए आपका अगर GST ऑडिट में आप अगर जाते हो तो on that difference they say that is clandestine removal or that is under the GST and you have to pay GST under 18% or 12% whatever your applicable rate is or 28%. So please be careful about this notice. If you have got any notice under the VAT, it is an ideal time when you can go under the SOD scheme and wash off your hands. That is there to come in pair if any genuine dues are paid. So now Coming to the relief that has been provided, area tax for non-furnishing or non-production of any certificate, जैसे declaration file करना पड़ता था. Okay, Form C, Form H वगैरह for for the central purchases or for exports, जो file करना पड़ता था. अगर आपको form नहीं मिला है, तो आपको जो करना पड़ा, जितना भी disputed tax है, मतलब difference, suppose CST sale था मेरा, but मुझे Form C नहीं मिला है, या फिर मेरा स्टॉक ट्रांसफर था, मुझे Form F नहीं मिला है, तो उसमें जो है मेरा डिस्प्यूटेड टैक्स जितना भी है, सपोज 1 लाख का है, तो उसका मुझे सिर्फ 15% देना पड़ रहा है. ओके, सिर्फ 15% देना पड़ रहा है, एंड कोई इंटरेस्ट पेनल्टी कुछ नहीं देना, व्हिच इज आई थिंक अ ह्यूज रिलीफ, बिकॉज मेनी पीपल वर अनेबल टू गेट ऑल दिस फॉर्म्स फ्रॉम देयर सप्लायर्स. नेक्स्ट इज एनुअल टैक्स इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ एडमिटेड टैक्स इन रिटर्न और इन राइटिंग. सो दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. अगर आपके रिटर्न में आपने ऑलरेडी दिखा दिया था कि आपका इतना पेबल है, मतलब 10 लाख रुपया पेबल है, बट आपने पे नहीं किया, जिसके लिए नोटिस आ रहा है, या फिर ये सब जो मिसमैचेस के हैं कि आपने उसमें वैट रिटर्न में कम दिखाया, बैलेंस शीट में अलग दिखाया, तो और फिर आपने बताया हाँ ठीक है, अपने डिपार्टमेंट को लिख के बताया कि यस एक्चुअली दिस अमाउंट वाज पेबल अंडर वैट, बट मैंने वैट में नहीं दिखाया, तो बट दैट इज माय टर्नओवर फॉर द वैट पीरियड. So in this case you will not get any relief for the tax amount. You have to pay 100% of the tax amount. But friends, please think, अगर आपका interest or penalty save होता है, just think the amount of quantum of penalty and interest you are going to save apart from the difference. मतलब VAT was at the most case 14.5, and here it could be 18 or 28 or even 12%. That needs to be. So any other area tax not covered above. So and other than admitted tax and tax for for the forms, whatever tax is there with payable, if it's disputed, then in that case 85% का आपको relief मिल रहा है, and आपको 15% उसमें आपको payment करना पड़ेगा. लेट फी का आपका पूरा वेवर मिल रहा है, पेनल्टी का पूरा वेवर मिल रहा है, एंड पेनल्टी फॉर व्हाट, लेट पेमेंट और नॉन पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स और फॉर डिफॉल्ट इन फाइनेंशियल ऑफ रिटर्न. उसका अगर कुछ भी लेट फी है, उसका अगर पेनल्टी है, तो उसमें आपको 100% का आपको लेट फाइलिंग के लिए जो भी पेनल्टी उसको वेवर मिल रहा है. अगर आपका पेनल्टी है फॉर सप्रेशन ऑफ टर्नओवर और फॉर एनी अदर आईटीसी एक्सेस अवेलेबल, किसी भी चीज का है, तो आपका पेनल्टी अमाउंट इज कैप्ड at 2% of the area penalty or 15,000, whichever is lower. तो 98% का आपको एक्चुअली पेनल्टी में भी रिलीफ मिल रहा है, अगर सिर्फ आपका पेनल्टी का ड्यूज है. क्योंकि काफी लोगों ने क्या किया था, वो टैक्स तो पेमेंट कर दिया, इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट कर दिया था, दे वर फाइटिंग फॉर पेनल्टी. आई हैव सम मैटर्स इन द ट्राइब्यूनल वेयरइन वी हैड चैलेंज द पेनल्टीज. तो उसमें अभी क्या होगा, सिर्फ 2% हम लोगों को पेमेंट करना पड़ेगा, और एट द मोस्ट 15,000, which is the limit. For entry tax क्या है, 15% of the tax dues देना पड़ेगा, तो 15% is actually given relief at, and late fees जो भी है उसका भी entirely waive हो गया है, तो उसमें आपको कुछ नहीं देना पड़ेगा. And here meaning of area tax has been said, जो भी आपका tax payable जो भी बनता है, and वो आपका dispute में है, लेकिन इसमें एक ही चीज बताया गया कि अगर आपने कुछ भी अमाउंट डिपॉजिट किया है as pre deposit, और फिर आपने पेमेंट कर दिया और बताया apart from pre deposit depositing this amount towards this, वो amount will also be considered, or anything is forcefully recovered from you, that amount will also be considered for the amount already to be paid by you. Okay, so anything that is already paid, that will also be considered while considering the areas of tax that has to be paid by you, whatever amount has to be paid. So for example, your area of tax is 100 rupees, but आपने already 30 rupees का फाइल कर दिया, तो आपको 15% पेमेंट करना था, तो इसमें से आपको ऑलरेडी, क्योंकि आपने 30 रुपीज दे दिया, तो आपको और कुछ पेमेंट नहीं करना. सो विद दिस आई एंड द एसओडी, एंड आई थिंक वी विल गो टू द Q&A. If there are any questions regarding the GST changes or SOD, I'll take it.
You explained everything so nicely. I think there is no question left.
Sir, yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, so Sapnil ji is saying that, yeah, in 3B filing status, you can see in 2A, yeah, that is there. But they're also coming in 2B, वो भी 2B में भी दिखाएंगे. Okay, there is another question. What persons who had already paid the late fee for previous year annual return because of issue to notice from the department will be... no, yeah, I actually missed that. So if in case anybody has paid any late fee, either for the final return or for the annual return or for the composition return, as we all know, the taxpayers, they will not get any refund for that if you have already paid it. Iska koi refund we will not get. The relief is given only for people jinka return is due, right? Yes, I think so there are no questions. So
There is one question
Yeah,
from
one,
Sanjay Rampuria ji.
Rampuria.
Sanjay ji,
Yeah.
you can unmute. Sanjay ji, you can unmute.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone.
good.
Suppose I have an assessment order pending. Authority ordered a demand for 1 crore rupees
Yes.
for the assessment year 2008 and 9. The annual turnover was 12 crore. Actually, the return was filed, and the authority has made it 15 crores. Now, what will be the consequences? I have to pay the SOD amount. Suppose the demand raised by them is 1 crore right now.
Yeah.
And it is
Okay.
pending in the High Court. The writ has
Okay.
been filed.
Yeah.
Now, you suggest me what we should do, how to proceed.
So against this 1 crore, is any pre-deposit paid at the lower level in the
No,
appellate
no,
level?
no.
Oh, you
no.
have filed a writ directly for the High Court.
Yeah, correct. Right, sir.
So in that case, only 15% of the because we have gone to the High Court, I'll assume that it is a disputed tax only. It is not admitted.
But my question is, I had a turnover over 13 crores, and the assessing offices had made it 15 crores.
Right. So yeah, see, sir, what is here is that it is a dispute. And if it was 13 crores if it was 15 crores in your return and you had paid tax on 13 crores, that would be admitted liability. कि आपने balance sheet में दिखाया 15 crores, you have shown in the VAT return 15 crores का turnover, but you have paid on 13 crores only. So that would be admitted liability. But if I have shown in my return 13 crores and now the assessment is being made to 15 crores, so I am in disputing that particular tax assessment only, and I am before the Honorable High Court saying that these are disputed tax. So here my liability will be restricted to 15% of the tax.
Of the 15 crores or 13 crores, sir?
No, of the tax amount, what has been ascertained by?
I have not accepted. It is a disputed.
No.
It is an ex-party order raised by the
I'm saying you have shown 13 crores as the turnover.
Right,
so, and he has shown 15 crores. So 2 crores is the disputed amount.
Correct.
So 2 crores ke upar 15%, 30 lakhs.
Okay. Thank you.
30 lakhs. And in between, you can collect all the documents because they'll ask for very simple documents. They say whatever writ you have filed, the assessment orders and all, and you can file the application.
Okay.
Okay. So Subhita is asking 15% as pre-deposit has already been deposited at the time of appeal filed. Appeal is pending, still 15 to be no. That's what I said. If any amount is paid, whether as a pre-deposit or during the time of recovery, that will also be considered for this particular payment that has to be made. So since 15% pre-deposit is already made at the time of appeal, no further payment has to be made while filing the application for the SOD.
Any other question? Is it applicable to professional tax also, Arup?
Yes, sir.
I don't think so. Any query left?
No.
There is a separate problem.
Professional tax, so huge collections have been made last year, 2023 May. They have made huge collections because
no relief on that account.
No. But this SOD is very good for people जिनका वो forms नहीं मिला जिनको, they should ideally go.
Form 2 and Form 4, yes. Yeah.
They should go because many people.
Tribunal का decision आने के बाद में भी जो whatever order is come based on that disputed degree liability है.
हाँ.
Tribunal is passed an order.
Yeah.
That case is also covered here.
Yeah, that case is also covered.
What is the So sorry. Yeah, please.
Yeah, please continue.
Although, what is your take on the tribunals? GST tribunals.
Tribunals, so we have seen the configuration and in the constitution being changed now. So let's see what happens after ultimately if it is. We are expecting that it will come by December.
In Bengal, where do you expect the building? Which building it should be placed?
That, but I think it will be Bamboo. There is a strong possibility of being in Bamboo.
If it is in state control, then it cannot be Bamboo.
Yeah, so let's see. But I'm being told there is already lookout on real estate.
Yeah.
But yes, tribunal is going to come fast because now High Court is tired with all the writs. So many writs are being filed for petty matters also. So that is the
Indeed.
It's already more than 5 years.
Yes.
How long will it take? So friends, with no more questions, let's close it. I would like to thank Arup. Wonderful session, Arup.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very passionately, you cover everything. And before we call it day, I'd like to invite our chairman, Abhishek Agrawal, to give his concluding remarks and then a formal vote of thanks. Thank you very much. Abhishek.
Yeah, thank you, President sir. Arup ji, thank you for you give various angles, including the vastu of the final return and the revocation angle also. So this really it was useful. And I'm sure the members will take the maximum benefit of this. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to DTPA for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much.
Thank you.